little bit of the impact, from many different levels.
Okay. Looking only at the internal perspective and people that they have on board, they recently mentioned it's become more difficult for them to grow because they have not developed the talent to actually sell business and then take on these new facilities. Do you think that's a change versus history, or is this an excuse that is not true, or how do you think about that?
Well, that's not their approach. If you listen to their investor call, they'll say they have the strongest management team they've ever had. So that's, again, to me, a little bit, working around the edges of what's real and what's not. So, their approach is we can grow as much as we need to, but I mean, we didn't really dig into that on this call, but they will struggle in certain markets to grow and grow the right way because of personnel.
Okay. So you do think they don't have the right personnel to keep growing at the same pace as they've done in the past?
Yeah, I think, and again, that was a strategic move to say we have a lot of overhead. So let's sort of downsize that, which again, some of that might be true, but I think they went a little overboard. I think they weren't expecting a lot of people to leave. So I think their approach was too rigid. So they lost people in the process. And now that not only did they eliminate some jobs, they also lost some people that they shouldn't have lost or couldn't lose.
Okay. If you look out the next 2-3 years, what percentage growth do you think is reasonable for the overall group?
Again, the growth, they'll get some growth. I mean, they'll 10 or 12% growth. Again, their revenue's so high right now. I mean, that's a big push too. The problem's going to be the lost business. So the growth, they'll get some growth, but it's going to be, there's no way they're going to maintain their client base.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some loss there.
On a net basis, I think they've grown typically, as you said, 10 to 12% after taking into account all client losses. Do you think that 10 to 12 is still reasonable going forward, or do you think it's going to be higher or lower than that?
I personally think it's going to be a tough nut to get based on losses. So they might add enough to hit the 10, but they're going to lose. They could lose almost that whole amount. So again, they're go ahead, sorry.
So growth rate to come down on lower retention, basically, which pulls down. I'm very interested to see the results this quarter. This quarter will be a test because they're done. I think unless it's this quarter or next quarter, I'm not sure when they reported Genesis for the first time. So when they want to build off of that, so they're going to have to build off of that. Which again, they should have staggered those, and they didn't stagger them. But they're going to have to build off of that, which is going to be a huge challenge. I would be shocked if their revenue growth is double digits this quarter.
Okay. Do you think the Genesis healthcare contract will be as profitable as the rest of the business over time, or do you think it's difficult to manage that?
I think they've got some people focused in on that. I think that's going to be okay. I think their margins will be, in the 12 to 15% there.
Yeah. Are large contracts typically more or less profitable than average?
In the history states, it's usually less. So they'll take the volume with less margin. I think the Genesis one, I think if they get that thing where it needs to be, I think that will be a good profitable account. I think that'll be okay. But usually when they do the large deals, in the past, they hadn't done the due diligence on it to really make sure they hit each market right. They'll say, well, this area will be profitable, this area won't be. And then overall, it sort of sinks it.
Taking Genesis shaky financials aside, when you say it's a complicated deal, could you just help us understand what is the complicated part of it?
Well, that part, again, I don't know if, that's something we should talk about, but.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Again, there was a lot of stuff.
Okay. No worries. Yeah.
If there's anything you think is non-public, please do not mention that.
That part, not only do I not know a lot, I don't want to speculate a lot, I do know something that probably we shouldn't talk about.
Thank you.
Can we talk about the captive insurance arm? How do you look at that change that happened, I think, 2014, 2015? Is that a positive, negative for the business?
For the organization, it was huge.